For any society to strive, there has to be a justice system. Humans aren't inherently good, and when they commit crimes, there has to be somewhere to put them. That's why the concept of prisons exists. However, as you may have heard, prisons aren't the most comfortable places for people. People generally try to escape from prisons. In fact, Prison Breaks are so popular that a hit series has been made on the entire concept. While a huge percentage of prison breaks end up in death or in further imprisonment, some end up on tapes. Today we'll be looking at the most audacious prison breaks ever captured on camera. And yes, this includes the stereotypical helicopter escape. Number 10. Razor Wire Business. Nicholas Grove was imprisoned in an Ohio prison. He was leading a pretty normal life till he decided that he just wasn't going to do that anymore. So what was his plan? Well, he decided that he was going to make a run for it. Yes, his big plan was to literally dash across the courtyard and climb over the prison razor wire fence. Amazingly, his plan worked. He made a dash for it, climbed the razor blade fence in about 10 seconds, and that was all. The crazy part of this escape was that he was able to climb the fence without suffering a single cut. This has led some to say that Nicholas's escape wasn't so spontaneous. In fact, some say that he had checked out the fence before to see which part of it would be easiest to climb. In any case, Nicholas escaped. However, he wasn't to stay away for long. He soon became comfortable enough to post his pictures on his personal Facebook account. These pictures led the police to find his hideout. I guess that's a lesson for you. If you escape from prison, don't post pictures on Facebook. Number 9. The escape in Russia. A lot of strange things go down in the former Soviet Union territory, and this video will absolutely blow your mind. Rustem Shakrodinov, a man convicted of armed robbery, was in a jail in the Russian town of Izerbash. Like Nicholas, Rustem decided that jail wasn't the greatest place for him to be. Thus, he decided that escape would be for the best. A surveillance camera in the prison one day caught a disturbing image. Rustem was attempting to squeeze himself out of the slit used to serve prisoners food. He struggles for a while to get his entire body through, but he was eventually successful. After he was able to get himself through, he wore his clothes and began phase 2 of his escape. Unfortunately, Rustem wasn't successful in phase 2 of his plan. He was arrested before even taking a step outside the prison walls. He was then taken to a room with a smaller slit. No escape for you, Rustem. Number 8. A shootout in the Port of Spain. The capital of Trinidad and Tobago is called Port of Spain. On this fateful day, it was not Port of Spain for the prison guards of the prison. Instead, it was Port of Pain. These prisoners at a prison in the city were able to get their hands on a grenade and some handguns. In this video, they are seen forcing a prison guard to the ground and forcing a shootout with guards. We don't know how these prisoners were able to get their hands on weapons, but they somehow managed to. The 3 prisoners were able to make a run for it after the shootout. However, one of them was eventually caught by police and killed. Another one was found dead, and the last one decided to turn himself in. So even though they managed to kill a guard, the prison break was botched. What a waste. Number 7. The story of El Chapo. When it comes to prison breaks, there's probably no one as prodigious as the drug kingpin El Chapo. He's escaped from multiple maximum security prisons, and till this day remains one of the most feared prisoners ever. This particular escape of El Chapo took place at the Altiplano Federal Prison. The prison was a maximum security prison, and that's what makes the escape all the more daring. The cameras of the prison captured El Chapo pacing restlessly in his room before he went into the showers. After getting into the shower, the camera captured him essentially sinking into the ground. Under the showers, a tunnel a mile long was eventually found. It was well ventilated, had lighting, and led to a partially built house. After a countrywide search, El Chapo was eventually arrested by the Navy. Imagine, all that work just to be arrested again. Tough. Number 6. Children breaking free. Prison breaks do not only happen at maximum security prisons. In fact, some happen in juvenile prisons too. This video is a testament to that. At this youth detention center in Sao Paulo, 54 inmates began rioting at about midday. And yes, it gets better. These inmates were able to take some guards hostage. Inmates started burning their mattresses and furniture to make it easier to escape. After a while of rioting, a few inmates started climbing the prison walls to run for freedom. It turned into an all-out brawl where 2 boys were injured, 54 escaped, and 7 were killed. Number 5. Death by escape. Did you know that guards are enabled by law to shoot at prisoners trying to escape? Well, now you know. And now that you know, perhaps this video will make a lot more sense to you. At Johnson Correction Center, North Carolina, there's an inmate named Angelino Najera. Angelino wasn't fond of the drab life of prison and decided that he would escape. What was his plan? Easy. Angelino figured that he would climb 2 fences that surrounded the prison. Unfortunately for him, he was sighted in time. Guards soon surrounded him and told him to come down. Angelino didn't find that advice to be particularly useful, so he refused. After a while, he was shot down by a guard. After Angelino fell down, he was left to die, and the guard returned to his post. Number 4. Bulldozer Escape. The video you're about to watch is real. It's not a TV flick. This actually happened. In Copenhagen, Denmark, a bulldozer crashed into a prison. The 26-foot-high wall of the prison came crashing down like a pack of cards. Once the wall came down, almost on cue, a stampede of prisoners came running out of the prison. In this video, you can see as guards futilely try to hold them back. That day, about 13 inmates escaped the facility. 3 of the escapees were caught by the police, while 10 still remained at large. Interestingly, the cameraman videoing the entire episode was arrested for prior knowledge of the escape. Number 3. Prison fire facilitates escape. Prison riots are one of the most common things that happen in prisons. As such, many facilities already have lockdown and shutdown plans in place. That way, when a riot occurs, they can be easily contained within a few minutes. Unfortunately, despite these plans, these prisoners in Brazil were able to escalate a prison riot into a full-blown jailbreak. It started when inmates were able to set fire to the building, and this astonishing video shows the burning prison. Because of the fire, a lot of inmates were able to make a run for it. At the end of the day, hundreds of inmates were able to escape. Fortunately, 80 of those inmates were caught pretty quickly. Unfortunately, 200 inmates were able to escape without being caught. Number 2. Chinese prison escape. This extraordinary video shows the escape plan of 3 prison inmates. The plan was this. One would request a private meeting with a guard and would be followed by 2 others. In the private meeting, the guard would be killed. After killing the guard, they would walk out wearing prison uniforms that they procured. And that was exactly how the plan went. They were successful for the most part. The guard was killed and the escape was done. Fortunately, they were caught a few minutes after escaping. After capture, 2 of the inmates were charged for murder, while the other was charged for being an accessory to murder. Number 1. Canadian escape. Canada isn't known for crime. However, this video will get you thinking otherwise. In this video, these 2 inmates try to make an audacious daytime escape. They first had 2 friends steal a helicopter for them. The helicopter was flown to the prison. The next phase of the plan was to use a rope to climb up to the helicopter hovering above the prison grounds. Finally, the helicopter was to take off with the 2 inmates hanging from it. Unfortunately for them, this plan eventually failed. They were back behind bars in a few hours.